Animal testing. A young boy awaits for medicine on what could be his deathbed. Down the hall, a sick elderly lady recalls memories with a fondness, and she wishes to be able to make more. Then comes the good news. Due to animal testing, they will now both be able to live happy lives. This is just one of the many great scenarios that can come out of animal testing. This is a very controversial topic. It has been for many decades, and it will be for many more. This is because there are some bad things that we would wish that wouldn't be the circumstance but are. For example, the expenses that come with animal testing. It is an expensive process from the actual animals to all the lab work and the tools and chemicals needed. But in this world, everything comes with a price. So any alternatives that could be used for animal testing would still cost a lot of money. Another problem with this is how accurate these medicines, vaccines, products that we develop and test on animals actually are, because animals are not carbon copies of us. Although it is said you don't need a complete carbon copy, especially since many animals are very, very closely with our genetics. And they still provide accurate results that can save many people and animals. Another problem is the actual uses. Because sometimes some people will say, even if they disapprove of animal testing as a whole, they will say they approve it when it's done for medicine, for things that help humanity that are a necessity in our world. But they do not approve of things like makeup or simple household cleaners or toothpaste, perfumes, any other fragrances that could be harmful to the animals, and they don't need to go through that harm because these products will not benefit humanity as such. And I agree with that. If it is not necessary, do not put the animals through that suffering. The biggest problem or issue that can come out of animal testing is the morals. How humane is it to sacrifice and possibly put animals through torture? How humane, how good or evil is it versus or compared to or for the survival of humans? These animals are born into captivity. They do not know an outside life. They don't have a choice. To that matter, I say, if they are born into captivity, they are bred for the sole purpose of science. They've never had a touch of the outside world of freedom, so they do not know what they're missing. If you take something away from someone that they have had and depend on, that is cruel. But if they never knew it in the first place, is it? As with every coin, there's two sides. There are also the pros. While there might not be as many or as in-depth ones, the main one is a big one. Medicine, including vaccines and treatments. Without our medicine, we would be dying at 40 again. 12-year-olds would die of every disease because they didn't have the immune system. But now, due to many research, which includes the research on animals, we have developed and tested treatments and have saved countless lives, both humans and animals. One such medicine is penicillin. It is now an antibiotic drug. It was first discovered by Alexander Fleming in an accidental contamination. He found that bacteria would not grow on this mold, but he was not able to further develop his research with just test tubes. He required a living body to test it on. And so mice were sacrificed, but infections were one of the main reasons people died for many centuries. And now, just take some medicine, take an antibiotic, and with some rest and good hygiene, you're out to make a recovery. This is also the case with cyclosporin. It is a drug that is used to prevent organ rejection. People were able to transplant organs from one body to another one. It's great. It's always been great. But the main problem with it was that our bodies would reject our new organs, and that is less great. But a fungus showed this certain chemical, what was developed into the cyclosporin. And now you can get your organs and keep them. Another big one, my final example, is insulin. This is used to treat a disease known as diabetes. There's two types. Type 2 is one that can be prevented with healthy diet, exercise, just overall good, lifestyle. But there's also type 1, which is not to be prevented. It is genetic. It is dangerous. You can't just take a pill. It's daily injections. It's a whole lifestyle. And this was another one. As with most of these medicines, they needed animals, living bodies with organs and vascular systems to be able to measure not only just results, but what needed to change and what was dangerous. And on that note, that's where my bias comes in. While I do personally believe that sacrifices often must be made for the next generation or the next species to live a better future, for me, it's the medicine that hits home. Because I come from a family with a lot of diseases and disorders. One especially is diabetes. It is my grandfathers and a couple grandmothers have had it, but what really hits for me is my brother. When he was just 8 years old, he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And while I was only 5 at the time, I can still remember very clearly him screaming in pain because his body wasn't working. He couldn't make his own insulin. His blood sugar was through the roof. It was so high. He could have gone into a coma and died had he not received the help he needed, had he not gotten insulin. And my brother's my best friend. I love him with all my heart, and if he weren't here, I can't honestly say that I would be too. It would have destroyed me as a little girl. And also, for myself, as with common in my family, I am showing signs of lupus already. And because of all these research that has been done, I am prepared to deal with that and take the medicine and precautions that I need to do. So what can we do? What's to be said more? You have the facts. Well, it's an issue up mostly to your own beliefs, your morals. I gave you some facts. I gave you some sources. So think about it. What are you willing to sacrifice to let everyone else, the future generations, your family, your friends, every loved one, what will you sacrifice to allow them to prosper? Thank you.